How you going, everyone? Excellent. Before I do my welcome to country, I would like to acknowledge the State Library of SA Management and the Literacy Coordinator, Carol Wall, for coordinating and overseeing the event tonight. I'd like to acknowledge the Premier, Peter Malak, and the other special guests that are here tonight that I didn't get to mention. I would like to acknowledge the recipients who's receiving literacy awards tonight, and also the Premier's Award. I know they're not going to be doing the Premier's Award tonight, or they are? Oh, they are? Oh. Well. Because what I wanted to share with you is that the Any Premier's Award is very, very special. And I'd just like to show, acknowledge that I was the recipient of the inaugural NAIDOC Premier's Award for outstanding service to South Australia. And that was back in 1998. So I'm trying to get my grey hair to be a real elder, you know. But anyway, enough of the jokes. To the welcome, Nina Marnie, Nina Marnie, Nina Marnie. Welcome and welcome and welcome. Some of the other brothers, they only do one welcome, you know. Give them a few welcomes, you know. So anyway, my name is Uncle Neville Tala Bulka Haifo, and I'm a senior Kaurna elder representing my Kaurna family apical group named Kanato, which is one of 11 apical groups that make up the Kaurna First Nations people. As an elder and a traditional owner and a native title owner of the Kaurna First Nations people of the Adelaide Plains, and one of the things that I don't like doing welcome sometimes, but if you don't know where you've been welcomed, everyone gets up and says Kaurna, Kaurna, Kaurna. Can someone tell me the boundaries of the Kaurna people here? In the audience? Yep. And what are the boundaries? So you know where I'm welcoming you to, see? I like to ask you. Yeah. Yeah. It's from Crystal Brook all the way down to the top of the hills and all the way down to Cape Jarvis. So that's where I'm actually welcoming you to my country and my home. So when someone does the welcome to country, you know where you've been welcomed to. Also, I'd like to acknowledge the 6 clan Aboriginal neighbours which border Kaurna country, which is Nukana, Narunga, Nudgee, Paramount just up top, Nudgee and Ramangeri. We are the Kaurna First Nation people of the Adelaide Plains, custodians and also the Cultural Authority people of country. I would like to pay my respects and acknowledge our great ancestors, creator of this beautiful land which we all live and work on. I would like also to acknowledge all our elders past, present and emerging as well. The Kaurna First Nation people are the custodians of country, and we are the caretakers. We don't own it. And through our Aboriginal law, our cultural customs, practices, and in line with our Kaurna heritage governance and cultural care practices. Even though we are living in a concrete jungle, in some parts of our country, our dreaming, stories and our songlines are still alive and active on our country today. As custodians of country and / home, we believe our culture and heritage beliefs are still as important today as if they was 40,000 years ago. In the spirit of reconciliation, I would like to acknowledge the many other First Nation people from other clan groups from around Australia, plus the many diversity of multicultural groups from around the world who are living and working on Kaurna country. As a Kaurna elder of country, I would like to acknowledge your cultures, your values, your beliefs and customs that you have brought to our communities and country. to make it one of the best places to live in Australia and in the world. And I heard that on TV, that we was voted as one of the best places to live. In the spirit of reconciliation is about building stronger relationships, which other and working together as one mob, one future, one community, but most of all, one vision. And in closing, I'd like to acknowledge and call on my ancestors to oversee and watch over every one of you tonight until you reach home to your loved ones. So thank you very much for listening and having a laugh with me as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Neville. Hard act to follow there. And for that beautiful welcome to country. It's an honour to be standing here on Kaurna land. Good evening, everyone. I have no idea. Oh, yeah, there you are. There's actually lots of you. It's great. Good evening. My name is Laney Anderson. I'm delighted to welcome you to the iconic Mortlock Chamber for the 2024 South Australian Literary Awards. Tonight's proceedings are being live streamed. Many thanks to Claire and Stan, the Auslan interpreters you'll see on stage tonight. Writing, as many of you know out there, is a solitary pursuit. Hours, days, even years of quiet dedication in your dressing gown, if you're like me, tapping away on a keyboard, wondering if you're spinning golden prose or churning out absolute crap. Will anyone ever read these words? Will they resonate? Will it make a difference? On the flip side, we all know just how competitive the world of literature can be. It's a vast and daunting field, incredibly difficult to crack into, and very, most often, financially unrewarding. Yet still we're driven to write and create. The very act of writing, of trying to help others see the world through new eyes, is a pursuit that matters. We write to make people feel, to step outside themselves, to explore new perspectives, and in doing so, we remind readers and ourselves of the power of empathy, of imagination and connection. So to everyone shortlisted tonight, congratulations. Getting here is a monumental achievement in its own right, and I really sincerely hope that you understand that and that you're all feeling immensely chuffed with yourselves, because you deserve it. I'd also like to personally extend a heartfelt thank you to the State Library of South Australia for their ongoing support of these awards of literature, the arts and the creative community. We are all grateful for the library's dedication to fostering a love of books and words. So before we get cracking with the awards ceremony, please remember to put your phones on silent, and I'll just give you a little bit of presentation housekeeping. We have highly commended nominations in 2 categories. These will be announced just before the category winner, and we'd ask highly commended recipients to please remain seated. To our winners, if you could please join me on stage when your name is announced, that would be fabbo. And good luck. And now, to really kick things off, it is my great pleasure to welcome the Honourable Peter Malinauskas, Premier of South Australia.
Well, thanks, Laney, for your warm welcome. I too would like to start by acknowledging that we're on the traditional lands of the Kaurna people and pay my respect to their elders, past, present and emerging. Allow me to also acknowledge my parliamentary colleague and Minister for the Arts, Andrea Michaels. Good to see you, Andrea. Although I saw you 2 minutes ago in Parliament. But can I also acknowledge Jeff Stremple, of course, the Director of the Library. And Jeff, can I take this opportunity to thank you for your substantial period of service to the people of South Australia through this magnificent institution. And we wish you all the very best in your upcoming retirement, which will no doubt be well-deserved and well-read. So these awards, I understand, date back to 1986 and are important in a number of regards. But this is the first occasion since 1986 that they've been celebrated or presided over in the Mortlock wing of the State Library, which begs the question, where else have you been doing this for the last 38 years? But 1986 is actually an important year for this institution too, because it was the year, 1986 was the year that this magnificent room, which we all love so much, was actually named the Mortlock Wing after the generous benefactors who had contributed so much to the library in John and Dorothy Mortlock. Because what the Mortlocks appreciated, what we all know, is that there is something particularly magnificent about the power of the written word. There is power in the written word that transcends space and time. We live with the collective bibliography of the planet at our fingertips. So it's extremely easy to fail to appreciate the genuine miracle it is that someone 100 or 200, 500 years ago, from the other side of the planet, speaking a language that we couldn't even recognise, can still communicate with us directly as though they were in the very same room as us today. That need for connection and communication is as fundamental to our species as food and shelter. Without it, we perish. The US writer Jonathan Gottschall described humankind as an animal literally addicted to storytelling. He wrote, "Even when our body goes to sleep, the mind stays up all night telling itself stories." I think about ramping. Telling myself stories that'll just disappear. No. The first part's true, I do think about ramping. But think about how much the spread of writing changed humankind by allowing ideas and insights and imagination to spread around the world. It wasn't always so. For millennia, our stories went unrecorded. We rightly treasure the myths and the legends successfully passed down by countless societies, including those that we are lucky to share this country with, the oldest continuous culture on the planet, because they are so precious and those stories are becoming too few. But our books are expressions of what it is to be human. They are also time capsules sent to the future, declaring we were here. This is what we know. These are the dreams that we had and the stories that we told. If writing is not a form of human magic, then I'm not too sure what is. Tonight, these awards provide us the opportunity to celebrate South Australia's contribution to that magic and acknowledge the way that we sort of continuously punch above our weight when it comes to a contribution to the arts and the sense of consciousness and empathy that is so central to humankind writ large. I wish the awards every success, but I particularly acknowledge those people who have made a contribution to South Australia's literary history, including today. We honour you because what you do matters. It's important. It's important that South Australia continues to mark its place as part of our national story, and tonight gives us an opportunity to celebrate you and all the work that you do, not for yourselves, but for the rest of us. Thank you for that, and I wish all the participants and nominees every success.
Thank you, Premier. While he was actually talking, I meant to say before that if you're sitting here and it's your job to be the support role, and at home that's who you are to the writer in your life, thank you so much as well, because you are so important, and I'm sure a few of you will be thanked tonight. Now put your hands together for a man who's soon to be sorely missed, Jeff Stremple, Director, State Library of South Australia.
Thanks, Laney, and I'd have to say it's been a delight over the period of time that I've been here that Laney has been a stalwart person who's transformed herself into a very successful writer and a participant with us in the most amazing exhibition that we did in terms of the overseas, overland flights of the Smith brothers, etc. So, Laney, thank you very much for agreeing to be with us here tonight. To Uncle Neville, thank you for that welcome, and to our wonderful and distinguished guests, the Honourable Peter Malinauskas, our Premier. How delightful that he's here tonight. And of course, my Minister, Minister Michaels, it's lovely to have you in the room as well, and you'll be participating in the awards in a little while. To members of my board, the Libraries Board of South Australia, I am so delighted to have such an incredible board that we work with. Sadly, our chair of the board can't be here tonight. I believe he lands first thing tomorrow morning, but had already booked flights and was unable to be with us here tonight. But I am very, very fortunate to have the board that I have. I would like to welcome and recognise in the front row down here, please make yourself known to her a bit later in the evening, my successor, the incoming director, Megan Burgess, who will start here on Monday the 4th of November in just a couple of weeks' time. I'm delighted to be retiring. I'm delighted that Megan is my successor, and I know that Megan is delighted to start here in a few weeks' time, so everyone's happy. And as Laney has said, special welcome to the authors, the publishers, the support staff who are here tonight to be participating in this event, either here physically or on the live stream. And for all others who are joining us on this live stream, the first time we've ever done this, we're delighted that we can go beyond the confines of this room to anyone else who would like to participate here with us. We're delighted that these awards support local writers. Also, they have a place on the national stage. They work with the literary community and they help with the public engagement with literature in a number of its forms. The awards are entirely sponsored by the state government, who provides us with almost $170,000 to go toward these awards, and you'll hear a little bit about that as we move forward. We've got some wonderful fellowships that are directly targeted to South Australian writers, and I should say that the 6 major published classes are open to anyone in Australia to enter. It's our way of contributing to the national conversation about what it is to be Australian. Since their inception back in '86, because of the amazing calibre of the writers and the publishers who've been involved, this awards program has got national significance along with a number of other Premier's Award across the state. And to give you an idea of how competitive it is just to get to this stage in the event, this year we received 827 entries across all of the categories. So highly competitive, and we're delighted to have the people here tonight who will be either highly commended or have won one of these awards. This taking over running these awards was offered to us in 2020, and we grabbed it with both hands because we could see the close synergy between what we do as a state library, the Public Library Network, and writing, reading, literature, South Australian stories. They all come together, and we've been so delighted to present this award twice previously in 2020 and 2022. And to answer the Premier's question, we were tied in with Writers' Week, and it was a Saturday afternoon toward the end of a busy Writers' Week where these awards would occur. And I'd have to say, whilst I was delighted for the winners, it was often not much more than 3 men and a dog in the tent with us as we were handing out the awards. And we really felt that in all honesty, the value that should be placed on these awards, they need to be elevated to a point where there would be some real recognition. And as you came up the stairs tonight, you would have noticed that beautiful bright wall with all the faces of all the people who were shortlisted for all of the awards. We want to leave that there for some time because we want, it's not just one night, one afternoon where an award's handed out, but we want to celebrate and recognise the people who have got to be shortlisted in these awards. So congratulations to you all. The State Library, as the keeper of much of the state's history, we're delighted that we can play a pivotal part in connecting people to the collections that we hold. And I might just say that in our basement, we've got the equivalent of 65 kilometres of shelving full of the history of South Australia. It's not on show. In some ways, I wish we had a bit of a glass floor in some places so you could see the vast collection that we've built up over a century and a half. Within these collections, there are stories to be told, and we know that there's been authors who mine these collections and end up publishing the most remarkable works, whether they're fiction, beautiful works dreaming about South Australia, or non-fiction, mining the history and the past of South Australia. We're delighted to connect with the Society and the writers as they go through that process. Managing these awards and having you here tonight as our guests is another way in which we can help to tell the story of Australia and Australians through writing, and help to nurture and encourage upcoming and established writers. We do have a number of fellowships for people who have unpublished manuscripts that are considered in this context. You will note that there's also been a bit of a brand makeover if you've been watching over a period of time, and you'll have seen quite obviously new logos, new decor, etc. connected to these awards. As the Premier mentioned, this is the first time the ceremony's been held in this beautiful room, and why would you take it anywhere else? And we're, for the first time, live streaming it. The awards, as I've said, continue to be funded by the state government through Arts SA, and also the board, Libraries Board of South Australia, is also a contributor to make this sort of a night a success. Where to next? We're already thinking about how could we make this bigger, better, brighter. Whilst it's great to have you all here tonight, we can think of there are other awards that we would like to find some sponsors for so that we can extend celebrating literacy and literature across Australia, but also most particularly in South Australia. And I would like to say that I want to say thank you and congratulations to a couple of groups. Some of you are here tonight. Thank you to the judges. Remarkable people who, for a stipend, a small amount of money, are prepared to contribute and read, in some cases, tens of books and go through a rigorous process of selecting winners within that context. They have expertise in the area they're working in, but they also have incredible generosity. So to all of you who have been judges in this process, thank you very much. The awards could not be held without your contribution, which is always a bit like authors, unseen. It's not until the final result appears. We'd also like to celebrate the diverse writing culture and talents of all of our shortlisted finalists and winners, and I'd like to, in advance, congratulate the authors and the award winners with this prestigious honour that they'll receive tonight. Thank you for coming. We're delighted to kick off with the most important bit. Let's meet the authors. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Always great to listen to Jeff. And so to the fun bit. Yes, thank you, judges, and thank you, state governments, for supporting these fantastic awards. To the 2024 South Australian Literary Awards, we have Jeff here waiting to congratulate our winners. Our first award is the Max Faction Fellowship, with thanks to our judging panel. Our shortlist is Maisie, working title by Elaine Webster, and The Children of Elphinstone by James A. Cooper. And the winner of the 2024 South Australian Literary Awards Max Faction Fellowship is The Children of Elphinstone by James A. Cooper. The judges felt that James's submission expertly fulfilled the application. James, if you stay right there, don't you move. Don't let Jeff scare you off stage. The judges felt that James's submission was expertly fulfilled the application requirements of quality, viability and impact, and that the story shows great promise as a finished work of high literary merit. The Children of Elphinstone is an upper middle grade historical fantasy with a central element of time travel to the Victorian goldfields of the mid-1800s. The time travel narrative engages with broad historical and cultural themes while touching on important environmental and natural history topics as the young protagonists seek to solve the mystery at the heart of the story. Its scope is culturally and historically ambitious with a distinctly Australian focus. As such, The Children of Elphinstone has a capacity to resonate with diverse audiences, creating a lasting impact for a broad spectrum of Australian readers. Its work promises to be original, exciting, and the judging panel looks forward to seeing the finished manuscript. James, congratulations, and the microphone is yours.
Wow, it sounds like a great read. It really is a real honour and a genuine surprise still to be here receiving the award. Also a little bit frightening, the thought of somebody putting so much money where my mouth is. But mostly it's a confidence booster and a real validation of my calling to the world of writing. It's also heartening to know that opportunities like this exist, to live in a time and a place where there's such generous public support for the arts, especially the writing arts. I'm really grateful for that. Speaking of time and place, as you just heard, the story that this fellowship will help make possible is a time slip adventure about some kids who are drawn back in time to the Victorian gold rush and who struggle to learn why that is and to find a way home. It's a story about valuing what you have through the lens of the past, and also how the past can help illuminate things we might have lost sight of. But it's also quintessentially a story about the Australian bush. I love stories where setting is just as important as character, and I hope that The Children of Elphinstone will be that kind of story. In that regard, just briefly, it seems appropriate that the fellowship is named after Max Fatchen, who up until a couple of years ago, to my shame, I'd never really heard of, until my nephew sent me a beautiful hardbound volume containing 2 Max Fatchen classics, The River Kings and Spirit Wind. Clearly, Fatchen had a deep affinity for this wonderful country of ours, an appreciation for its ancient and its more recent fraught history, its colourful characters, its rugged beauty. I've found reading his work already a great inspiration. I just hope humbly that something of his legacy will pass into my own writing. Lastly, congratulations to Elaine Webster, who was also shortlisted. Really, to be named alongside such a well-established, renowned and respected South Australian writer is an honour in itself. Thank you very much to my dear wife Claire, who's here, making sure I don't end up as quivering in a corner somewhere. Congratulations to all the other award winners tonight, and thank you to the State Library of South Australia for curating the event and all those who make the South Australian Literary Awards a reality. How lucky are we? Thank you.
Congratulations, James. Next to the Barbara Hanrahan Fellowship, with thanks to our judging panel. Our shortlist is A Life Half Lived by Karen Wilde, Queen Porn by Katrina Bryant, and Radiance, A State of Being by Molly Myrne. We have a highly commended nomination in this category, which goes to A Life Half Lived by Karen Wilde. A Life Half Lived is a magical realist novel that imagines the life of a middle-aged Aboriginal woman who reflects on the losses of her life. Judges said this was a very strong application. The premise of the work was original, exciting, intriguing and impactful, and the judges believe it has the potential to have a substantial impact on the writer's career development, the wider literary environment and the First Nations writing community. Please join me in giving Karen Wilde a round of applause. And so to the major prize. The winner of the 2024 South Australian Literary Awards Barbara Hanrahan Fellowship is Radiance, A State of Being by Molly Myrne. Molly Myrne's Radiance, A State of Being is a novel that addresses the transformational capacity of art set against a backdrop of 2 desert places, Australia and Morocco. This was an exemplary application, clear, compelling and complete. The judges were left with an unquestionable understanding of the writer's vision and capacity and the impact and feasibility of the project. The judges were convinced that the proposed activities would result in a manuscript that would be extremely attractive to agents and publishers. Significantly, the writing sample was highly persuasive. The writing was beautiful, the execution of the idea compelling, the skill and the ability of the writer indisputable. In summary, this was the most compelling and persuasive application due to the completeness and clarity of the application, the writer's evident capacity to deliver the project, and the outstanding quality and literary merit of the writing sample provided. That does sound like Molly Myrne. Congratulations.
Wow, that was a lot of nice words. Thank you. I'm so thrilled to be receiving the Barbara Hanan Fellowship for 2025. More thrilled actually than I have time to go into here, but receiving this award has been a touch of radiance in what has been a difficult second half of this year. So I thank you so much to the New Look South Australian Literary Awards, the State Library of SA, and in particular the assessment panel who wrote those beautiful words just now, and also who saw the merits of my work in progress, radiance, a state of being. I'd also like to congratulate all the other winners and shortlisted authors here tonight. It's a stellar crowd, both here and online. But I'd especially like to acknowledge the beautiful work of Karen Wild and Katarina Bryant, my fellow shortlistees for the fellowship. Thank you also to my loved ones, one here tonight, others watching on at home. Happy birthday, Giacomo, my son. And thanks also to my book-loving friends and colleagues. To choose a creative life is a brave act. I must keep reminding myself to be brave because there are costs to living so precariously. The easier option would be to down the pen and simply enjoy other people's creative work. Yet it's the work of other writers and artists that spurs me on and reminds me, yes, 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 I want to engage in the world this way. I want to pay attention, I want to make art. And as many of you in this room know, for every yes moment in a creative life, there are many, if not more, no moments and roadblocks. Barbara Hanan herself was brave. The creative women I'm writing about in my novel Radiance are brave. And thank you to the SA Literary Awards for helping me to be brave. Just to finish, I wanted to read a fragment from my application, just so that you'll understand how much receiving this award means to me. I would like to understand what is possible if I'm provided a metaphorical and literal, financial, room of one's own. My first novel, Heart of the Grass Tree, took 10 years to complete while raising young children solo. I would like to tighten the time frame for Radiance and prioritise creative practice, and I think Barbara Hanan would approve. Thank you.
And now to the Danang Chandi Fellowship, with thanks to our judging panel. The judging panel commends all shortlisted applicants and notes that each entry was creatively strong and compelling. The shortlist is A Life Half Lived by Karen Wild, Kai Boomerang by Ali Cobby Eckermann, Monologues, Poems and Ramblings for You, Them, Us and Me by Alexis West, and the winner of the 2024 South Australian Literary Awards Danang Chandi Fellowship is Monologues, Poems and Ramblings for You, Them, Us and Me by Alexis West. Unfortunately, Alexis can't be with us tonight. I'm delighted to invite her friend, Dominic Guerrara, to accept the award on her behalf. Alexis's submission is a collection of poems, monologues and scripts. Judges felt the collection was emotive and powerful and allowed the reader an introduction to Alexis's distinct voice and style. Themes in the works were varied, including systemic racism, car travel, environmental issues and childhood memories. The skillful weaving of dry and dark humour through serious and sometimes heartbreaking subject matter brought dimensions of light and shade to the works. The proposal for the fellowship recognises the lack of published collections of monologues for the marginalised, and she proposes a one-year process of compiling and editing a collection of monologues with input and discussions with several industry experts. The panel believes her project will contribute significantly to an underrepresented area of Aboriginal writing. Congratulations again to Alexis. And I'm just wondering if Dominic is here to say a few words. Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much to Alexis West. We'll give her another round of applause. Thank you. Our next award is the Arts South Australia Wakefield Press Unpublished Manuscript Award, with thanks to our judging panel. Our shortlisted entries are Boy Swimmer by Gina Inverarity, Catastrophic by Alastair Sarr, Dear Vincent by Heather Taylor-Johnson, Out of Place by Robin Board, Salt Upon the Water by Lynn Dickens, and The Tongue is a Witch by Alicia Carter. We have a highly commended nomination in this category, which goes to Dear Vincent by Heather Taylor-Johnson. The judges noted that Dear Vincent was a thoughtful interrogation of caring work, visual art and illness. Engaging with Vincent van Gogh and the possibility he had Meniere's disease, a diagnosis the author shares, the manuscript interrogates what it could mean to have an illness in common. The judging panel was impressed by the author's deep engagement with body, self and the idea of haunting. They noted that the book's strength was in its experimental form using letters, a novella, poetry and essays. Please join me in giving Heather another round of applause. And now to the winner of the Arts South Australia Wakefield Press Unpublished Manuscript Award, and that is Salt Upon the Water by Lynn Dickens. Salt Upon the Water is a lyrical and poetic historical fiction which examines one of Australia's founding figures in a new light. The novel decenters white perspectives by focusing on two mixed-race characters from colonised lands meeting again on the shores of the fledgling South Australian colony. The judges were particularly struck by the exploration of mixed-race identities, privilege and power in late 18th century England and Australia. Congratulations, Lynn.
Thank you so much. I'd like to acknowledge that I live on the unceded land of the Kaurna people and that this manuscript was written on Kaurna land, Paramanca country and the land of the Ramangeri people. I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. I'd like to thank the judges, Premier and Minister, State Library and Wakefield Press for this award. It's completely wonderful to know that this novel will find its way to print after a very long journey. I'm thrilled that the story has struck a chord with the judging panel and that it will now have the opportunity to connect with more readers to come. I'd like to thank my supervisors and colleagues at the University of Adelaide, my agent Claire Forster, and I'd also like to congratulate the other shortlisted writers. I look forward to reading all of your works one day. Beyond the benefit that this prize gives me as an individual, these prizes also speak to who we are as a community and our willingness to invest in a future of a thriving and diverse artistic culture. It's wonderful to see such a strong commitment in South Australian literature and creativity, and I look forward to seeing how this develops in the future. So I started writing this novel in a world that feels very different to the one that we're in now. But I like to think that the premise of the book and its themes are even more relevant today than they were over 6 years ago. The novel asks questions about history, identity, and ethics, and what our past can tell us about the challenges we experience in the present. It means so much to me to have this book finally seeing the light of day, so to speak. So thank you very much.
Congratulations, Lynn. And now to the Jill Blewett Playwrights Award, supported by State Theatre Company South Australia, with thanks to our judging panel. On the shortlist we have hits of the 70s, 80s and 90s by Rebecca Meston, Log Boy by Anthony Nacera, Mally Ward by Michael Hill, Paradise Lost, Melissa Kelly Franklin, Spare a Thought for Yarn Event, Nicola Watson, The Spoil, Piri Eddy, and Safe by Nina Pierce. And the winner of the 2024 South Australian Literary Awards Jill Blewett Playwrights Award is Paradise Lost by Melissa Kelly Franklin. A young Australian doctor begins working in an offshore detention centre on a remote Pacific island. Here she connects with an Iranian poet fleeing persecution for his homosexuality. Confronted by the suffering of those incarcerated, Robin finds her Hippocratic oath increasingly in conflict with her legal obligations to remain silent on the inner workings of the detention centre. Tensions spill over into her personal life back in Sydney. The judges unanimously selected Paradise Lost as the winning title. The play is an accomplished and nuanced critique of Australia's border policy in a gripping drama that is charged with emotion. Congratulations, Melissa Kelly.
Thank you so much to the State Library of South Australia and the State Theatre Company of South Australia for recognising Paradise Lost with this award. I feel incredibly privileged to be standing here this evening as just one among many voices who believe in the power of stories to remind us of our humanity and the humanity of others. This play has been years in the making and would not have been possible without the generous support of the consultants and friends who shared their time and their deeply personal experiences with me throughout the research, the development and the writing of Paradise Lost. Without them, this play would not exist. My heartfelt thanks in particular go to the talented artists of Refugee Art Project for your support, your friendship, for sharing your stories with me, my mum for encouraging my love of stories from childhood, my husband Neil for his endless support, the discussions, the reading of numerous drafts, and finally to the whistleblower doctor who also became a friend on the journey of writing this play. Thank you for your courage and your trust. Paradise Lost is a play about compassion and humanity. It's a play about seeing people and not borders. So this is for all those around the world seeking freedom and all those who speak out for them. Thank you.
Fabulous. Great, always great to hear mums getting recognised as well. Next up, we have the John Bray Poetry Award, with thanks to our judging panel, convener Gemma Parker, Steve Brock and Stevie Zhao. Our shortlist of 5, Acrobat Music, New and Selected Poems by Jill Jones, publisher, Puncher and Watman. At the Altar of Touch, Gavin Wan Gao, University of Queensland Press. Human Looking, Andy Jackson, Giramondo Publishing. Hunger and Predation, Pooja Mittal Biswas, Cordite Books. The Singer and Other Poems, by King Chang Bowie, Cordite Books. And the winner of the 2024 South Australian Literary Awards John Bray Poetry Award is At the Altar of Touch by Gavin Wan Go, University of Queensland Press. Gavin was unable to be present today and will be accepting his award via video in a moment. The judges described Gavin Wan Go's At the Altar of Touch as an outstanding collection of poems characterised by breathtaking imagery and a beautiful use of language that reaches exhilarating heights and tender depths. Gao covers a wide-ranging emotional territory, from the historical, drawing on scenes and stories from Chinese history, to the deeply personal, most powerfully the loss of his mother at a young age that resonates throughout the collection. The judges were impressed by Gao's brave exploration of gender and identity, grief and loss in his skillful, poised and elegant collection. Gao takes the reader with him on his journey of discovery of the English language, and one feels he reinvents language in the process. At once highly literary and accessible, the poems engage in confident dialogue with a broad range of writers from the canon, while moving seamlessly from the present to tackle historical themes and topics. And now to our video.
Hi everyone, I'm Gavin. I'm tuning in from Austin, Texas. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land I'm calling from, the Tonkawa, Comanche, and Lipan Apache peoples. I'm incredibly honored to be receiving this award tonight. I'm deeply grateful to the judges for their confidence in my work. My heartfelt thanks to the Government of South Australia and the Library of South Australia for sponsoring this award, and for their continued support and belief in the enduring necessity of poetry in our world. My deepest gratitude to my mentor, Felicity Plunkett, and my publisher, Aviva Tarfield, for supporting and believing in me every step of the way. I'd also like to extend my gratitude to my fellow shortlisted poets. Your work inspires and challenges me, and it's a privilege to be recognized alongside you all. Thank you again for this honor, and I hope you have a wonderful night of celebration.
Up next, we have the Children's Literature Award, with thanks to the judging panel, Tracy Glover, convener, Greg Holfield and Susie Betts. The short list of 6 is Being Jimmy Baxter by Fiona Lloyd, Penguin Random House Australia. Exit Through the Gift Shop, Marianne Master, Pan Macmillan Australia. Runt by Craig Silvery, Allen and Unwin. Scar Town, Tristan Banks, Penguin Random House Australia. Stay for Dinner, Sandhya Parpukaran by Hardy Grant Children's Publishing. And The Way of the Dog, Zana Fralian, University of Queensland Press. The judges said these titles were shortlisted because they exhibited a strong central character voice. The protagonists found themselves in anxious situations but managed to positively navigate their way to a solution. Adults were often troubled themselves but provided good support within these stories. Judges were also impressed by how the stories in these books were supported by strong design, well-executed cover illustration, thoughtful creative typesetting, and internal illustrations and papers, which all enhance the reader's experience and enjoyment of the story. And the winner of the 2024 South Australian Literary Award for Children's Literature is Scar Town by Tristan Banks, Penguin Random House Australia. Congratulations. tough field there, Tristan, well done. By way of background to the story, an old town was buried when a new dam was built. 7 years later, a house suddenly emerges from the river. Will, with siblings Dar and Juno, decide to explore the house. The judges said Scartown captures the reader from the first page with striking imagery and description of the abandoned house emerging from the receding dam waters. This provides the catalyst for the suspenseful action and mystery which is maintained as the story unfolds. The judges said the book won because the author respects the readership by providing a challenging storyline, but with a deft and skillful touch keeps the content from becoming overwhelmingly dark or too visceral. It's a cracking read that captures the well-established elements of the classic genre of great children's mystery books published over the years, while being thoroughly modern in its approach, and the characters are fresh and original. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. And an honour in this, although I can't see it right now because of the lights, it's such a beautiful room to be receiving this award in. Thank you very much to the State Library. I really appreciate this. I've been lucky enough to spend time in Adelaide last year for Writers' Week, and also this year visiting schools and meeting the local authors, and also driving down to McLaren Vale with my wife, which was amazing. And the thing that strikes me about coming to Adelaide is how tight the community is amongst children's and young adult authors. Not only are people super supportive of each other here and of the other authors and illustrators who are here, but also people who come and visit. You feel really supported, and people will come along to your tent down at the Writers' Festival and be super supportive, and you just feel welcomed into this place. And I think it's sort of part of the reason, that community is part of the reason why, as the Premier was saying before, South Australia really punches above its weight in terms of the appreciation of writers' work on the national stage. I am lucky to win this award and to be here with this community and with in this city. I love this place. I love coming back here. So yeah, thank you very much. This is one of those books that took a very long time. I wrote a short story in 2009, and I thought, I like these characters, and I really like the mood and the tone and the feeling, and I like the setting. I'll write a novel, and it'll come really quickly because all the elements are in place. And then I started in 2010, and it was published in 2023, and so it was, but I think it's possibly a better book for having composted for that time. I think I wrote 12 books in the meantime, and it was one of those stories though that because it was a setting and characters and a mood and tone in search of a plot, and so I would try to write it, and I'd peter out after 12,000 words, and then 17,000 words, and then 22, and I was and I'd put it away knowing that it was never going to get written. But then it was one of those ones that would just never leave you alone when you're driving, or if I was doing a writing workshop with kids, I'd always be scratching away at this story going, what do these kids find? And in this house that's poking out of the lake, what do they find in there that relates to some secret that was at the bottom of this lake? And I just kept on picking away at it. And I think it's a good lesson in trusting your gut, because this book that eluded me for so long has probably had the most positive reaction from readers of any of my books. And I think it's that thing of sticking with something even though you're unsure of the way forward, but just trusting and trusting and trusting. And yeah, I'm very happy just to have finished it, let alone the thought that people are actually sort of connecting with the story. So I hope that you will all go home tonight and start writing that novel that's been gnawing away at you for all these years, and you're unsure how to do it, but you'll keep going. And then in 2037, in 13 years' time, we'll be back here, and I hope that I get to present you with your award. So yeah, thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, longevity is a bit of a theme, isn't it? And I have to say, as a late entrant into the South Australian literary sort of field with my training wheels on, it is so supportive. I love the community and just how much writers of all genres support one another. It's fabulous. To the Young Adult Fiction Award, with thanks to our judges, Alicia Herman, convener, Helen Dinmore and Audrey Menz, our shortlist. Completely Normal and Other Lies by Biffy James, Hardy Grant Publishing. If You Could See the Sun, Anne Liang, HQ Young Adult and imprint of HarperCollins Publishers. Sugar by Carly Nugent, Text Publishing. Sugartown Queens by Alan Unwin. And The Brink, Holden Shepherd, Text Publishing. And the winner of the 2024 South Australian Literary Award for Young Adult Fiction goes to Completely Normal and Other Lies by Biffy James, Hardy Grant Publishing. Judges said this is a beautifully crafted novel which speaks to the here and now of young people's experiences in a sophisticated and layered way. The judges enjoyed the twist on female friendship and the skillful and accurate representations of mental health and therapy, high school hierarchies, and parent and adolescent relationships. Judges said Completely Normal and Other Lies was unputdownable, just seeing if everyone was listening. A cracker of a read and the unanimous winner. Congratulations to Biffy James.
I didn't. I wrote notes, but then I got distracted by Melissa Kelly and Lynn's amazing dresses and Gavin's shirt and Tristan's powder blue suit. And Tristan, thank God that this is being recorded, because everything that you just said about like writing the book that takes 1,000 years, I'm just going to play that on repeat. And none of this speech is relevant anymore because I have to thank Jeff with a G, who is... I know, and I've just met him and I'm devastated. And Laney. And I also just want to give a huge shout out to, I want to say Stan and Claire, who are our Auslan interpreters. Fun fact, I actually just learned the alphabet from the Yellow Pages when I was a kid. This is so irrelevant. But it's actually, my favourite sign was helicopter, and now you're all going to look at Claire waiting for her to... Yeah, see? Yeah, it's only beaten by Molotov cocktail. No, sorry. Just spell that one out, Molotov cocktail. Anyway, huge thanks to this beautiful library. It's purple. Claire, Lucy, Patrick, the three beautiful queens who are setting up our food right now outside. Thank you to the people who don't get thanked, who make these events so awesome. Thank you so, so much. Appreciate you so, so much. Thank you again, my agent, Jacinta and Danielle. They know how much I love them, and my beautiful editor, who literally should be standing here next to me because there's no way I would be here without her. My students, the teenagers, you are all so much smarter, cooler, funnier than you think you are. Demand the respect that you deserve. You're just legends. Thank you for being completely yourselves. Now I'm back to my notes. My stunning, amazing, supportive, wonderful family. No, but actually, I don't know where the camera is, because I know this is... Thanks, Mum and Dad. I need to look... Thank you. I'll pay you back. And oh, no, this is important. Just before I go, I'll read this verbatim, because you know I've got a microphone and this is where you're supposed to use your platform. Does anyone know Graham Bass? Like, I've legit been trying to meet him since I was 8 years old. And now I'm all, I have an award. We could talk about writing, but in totally not a creepy way. So yeah, if you're mates with him or whatever, please let me know. I literally wrote him a letter in 1982 and he wrote back and it's framed on my wall. So if anyone knows Graham Bass, totally normal, completely normal. And otherwise, thank you. I'm just gonna...
Completely normal, Biffy. Completely normal. Next up is the award for non-fiction. With thanks to the judging panel, Ben Stubbs, convener, Max Opray and Eliza Watke. Shortlist: Childhood, Shannon Burns, text publishing. Fat Girl Dancing, Chris Neen, text publishing. I'd Rather Not, Robert Skinner, Black Ink. Personal Score, Ellen Van Neerven, University of Queensland Press. And The Ballad of Abdul Wade by Ryan Butter, Affirm Press. And the winner of the 2024 South Australian Literary Award for Non-Fiction is Childhood, Shannon Burns, text publishing. In this arresting memoir, Shannon Burns recalls a childhood spent bouncing between dysfunctional homes in impoverished suburbs, between families unwilling or unable to care for him. Age 9, he beats his head against the pillow to get himself to sleep. Age 10, he knows his mother will never be able to look after him. He is alone and can trust no one. The judges said this superbly written memoir grabs readers from the very first pages. Burns artfully harnesses the detachment he relied on to survive the deprivation of his childhood to deliver a devastatingly vivid account of intergenerational poverty and neglect in the northern suburbs of Adelaide. The originality of the approach and the unique style of Burns' memoir leave a lasting impression. Childhood is a worthy winner of the 2024 South Australian Literary Award for Non-Fiction. Congratulations.
Well, thanks to Biffy for the speech of the night. Thanks too to the State Library for administering and hosting these awards, to the state government for funding it, and to the judges for their efforts in reading and evaluating the many worthy books that were submitted for consideration. I'd like to acknowledge and congratulate the other shortlisted authors, particularly in the non-fiction category, and especially my good friend Robert Skinner. Robert's book is a brilliantly fun read, and it's great to see that there is room for levity in the serious world of literary awards. Thanks to the publisher of Childhood, Text, particularly to Michael Hayward and David Winter, the book was substantially shaped by their encouragement and feedback. I was worried for my publisher. I feared that the story told in this book was not the kind of story readers are interested in reading, or that society more broadly is interested in contemplating. I'm still sceptical, but a prize like this offers some reassurance. Childhood is dedicated to my wife, Bray. I want to thank her again, her parents, Rick and Janine, and our children for their support over the years. I also want to thank my yaya for her love and care under difficult circumstances many years ago. Lastly, childhood is partly about the active and defining presence of literature in a young person's life. I've always felt enriched and stimulated by books that require and reward close attention. So I thank the writers and publishers and libraries and bookshops who provide that nourishment. Thanks.
To the Fiction Award now, with thanks to our judging panel, Emily Wilson, convener, Alexis Buxton-Collins and Dorothy Shawn. The shortlist. All That's Left Unsaid by Tracy Lien, HQ Fiction, an imprint of HarperCollins Publishers. Hydra by Adrian Howell, Transit Lounge. Permafrost, S.J. Norman, University of Wakefield Press. The In-Between, Christos Cholkas, Allen and Unwin. And West Girls by Laura Woolett, Scribe. The judges were thrilled with this shortlist for a multitude of reasons. It's idiosyncratic and displays the diversity not just of Australian writing talent, but a diversity of stories and narrative style. 3 of the 5 authors have been shortlisted here for their debut book, and it's exciting to see emerging writers receive these accolades. It's also a joy to immerse oneself in the works of already renowned writers and continue to be surprised and impressed by their talent. And the winner of the 2024 South Australian Literary Award for Fiction is Permafrost by S.J. Norman, University of Queensland Press. S.J. Norman sadly can't be here tonight. I will shortly read a message from his publisher. But first, I'd like to give you a little bit about the book. Permafrost comprises a collection of short stories with different settings and themes, but at their essence, they explore isolation, loss, and yearning ache. As the judges attest, they are sharp and sombre, exploring the angst of being in a sometimes confronting environment. The reader experiences the depth of emotion sustained by the characters in each story, as Norman's words paint a visual understanding with underlying experiences of smell and sound adding depth to the scene. The writing is affecting, eerie, and unique. What particularly stood out for the judges was the incredibly evocative language. Each short story has a different protagonist, but the worlds that Norman so elegantly and concisely creates are linked by prose that is at once transportative, meditative, and compelling. Permafrost was a standout among fiction entries, immediately capturing attention and lingering long after reading in fragments, shadows, and phrases. S.J. Norman's publisher at University of Queensland Press, Aviva Tuffield, has sent the following message. S.J. has asked me to say a few words on his behalf. S.J. is unfortunately unwell at the moment and on medical leave. He is sorry he can't be with you tonight. Permafrost is a book that took a long time to pull together. One of the stories in this incredible book was first developed as part of a University of Technology Sydney creative writing course that S.J. took back in 2005, while the last story in the book was completed in the depths of COVID in late 2020. So this exceptional and now prize-winning book was not an instant book by any means. Slowly, the stories accreted and benefited along the way, among other things from a Kill Your Darlings Prize mentorship with author Hannah Kent. And I, for one, will say that the time S.J. spent working on his craft was worth it. I truly believe Permafrost is one of the best books I've ever published across my 25-year publishing career. Permafrost has been recognised with shortlistings in a few literary awards since its publication, but this is the first time it has been named as the winner. SJ wants me to express his deep gratitude to the South Australian Literary Awards judges, to Art South Australia and to the State Library of South Australia for this recognition of Permafrost. This prize and the associated money could not come at a better time for SJ. It is literally life-changing. Thank you, Aviva. Please put your hands together once more for SJ Norman. Now, before I invite the Minister for Arts to announce the Premier's Award, I'd like to take this opportunity on behalf of the State Library of South Australia to say a very sincere thank you to the Government of South Australia for its support through Art South Australia. Thank you also to State Theatre Company South Australia for supporting the Jill Blewett Playwright Award, to Wakefield Press for supporting the Unpublished Manuscript Award, and of course Michael Boland is a State Treasure, Writers SA for their ongoing assistance and support, and to the following event sponsors: Alpha Box and Dice, Mosaic Audio Visual and Vale Brewing. And now, without further ado, I'd like to invite Minister for Arts, Andrea Michaels, to present the Premier's Award. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Laney, and you have done a wonderful job tonight. Can we give Laney a round of applause? She's hiding back there. It is a privilege to be here to present the Premier's Award tonight. I do want to take a moment to thank Jeff Stremple for his extraordinary work with the State Library for the past 6 years. He's leaving it in very good hands with Megan. But to Jeff, he's been extraordinary to work with over the last 2.5 years, so thank you, Jeff. It is my great pleasure tonight to present the $25,000 Premier's Award as part of the 2024 South Australian Literary Awards. Firstly, I want to congratulate all of the shortlisted nominees and the award recipients that we've heard from tonight. You should all feel very, very proud of your accomplishments, and we cannot underestimate the value and the impact that these literary awards have. They validate what is, as we've heard, years of sacrifice and hard work. The South Australian Literary Awards are one of the few national programs that do not charge an entry fee. Importantly, this results in obviously a very significant volume of nominations, over 800 we heard, and enables the judges to select from the widest range of published works possible. The total prize money for these awards that the Malinowskis government is proud to support is over $160,000, and it reflects our ongoing commitments to arts in South Australia, and particularly the literary sector. I very much look forward to releasing our cultural policy for South Australia in the coming months. We have engaged with a significant number of writers and writing organisations, both here and nationally, to contribute to that. I won't give anything too much away, but I can say it very strongly aligns with the National Cultural Policy Revive, which does specifically acknowledge the needs of the literary sector, and something that I am very keen to share with you all in coming months. I want to thank the incredible judges for the 2024 awards. They have undertaken an incredibly challenging task. I want to encourage each of you here tonight and online to add all of these wonderful books to your reading list. There is a lot of great reading to be done in coming months. And before I announce the winner of this year's Premier's Award, I want to welcome to the stage Sean Williams to speak on behalf of the Premier's Award judging panel. Sean, can you come up?
Thanks, Minister. I'm very happy to be standing in for the convener of our judging panel tonight, Jessica Ellis, although of course we wish that she could be here with us as well. Working with Jess and my fellow judge, Verity Lawton, on the task of choosing the winner of the 2025 Premier's Award was an honour and an absolute pleasure, as well as a formidable challenge. I'd like to thank all the judges who preceded us in this weighty venture, acknowledging their work in picking 5 almost equally wonderful books for us to choose between, an impossible task, it seemed at first. Thankfully, our complementary perspectives on literature leave me certain that we arrived at the correct decision, since we were so often in complete agreement, as became apparent as we deliberated. All 5 books are outstanding in their fields. We wish to emphasise this, and we congratulate all the authors on their stellar accomplishments. Only one, however, can receive the Premier's Award. The title we've selected speaks to our shared love of social justice, poetic language, and literary experimentation. It is startlingly intelligent, written with sophistication that deeply evokes its setting. With extraordinary frankness and without sentimentality, it depicts a relentless series of events through both form and structure, creating an utterly immersive reading experience. Whether it's providing insight into the psychology of trauma occasioned by cruelty and neglect, exploring a class and culture often overlooked in Australian literature, or encouraging compassion for young people who have, through no fault of their own, found themselves trapped in a cycle of violence, this book stands out as a masterful literary work that utterly succeeds in both concept and execution. That it was written by a debut author makes it an even more remarkable achievement. I'm very pleased now to hand back to Minister Michaels to announce the recipient of this year's Premier's Award. We're just drawing it out as much as we can.
The suspense is killing us all. With a $25,000 prize money and a total combined prize money with the category prize of $40,000, it is my great pleasure to announce that the winner of the 2024 Premier's Award is our very own South Australian author, Shannon Burns, for his stunning debut, Childhood.
Well, thanks, Andrea, and thanks, Sean. I was told to maybe prepare a speech just in case I won, but I didn't think it was necessary to do such a thing. So maybe I could just add a couple of thanks. A couple of people mentioned earlier the South Australian literary community and its very supportive nature, and I have to confess that sometimes I tend to avoid some of the social elements of literary life, but I've certainly benefited from the great support of many members of the South Australian literary world, especially when I was younger, especially when I was just trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. So I'd like to thank all of those people who I've encountered along the way in South Australia. Particularly, I'd like to mention my colleagues, past and present at the University of Adelaide. A lot of them influenced my work, especially Brian Castro and Dorothy Driver. I had great support from Nicholas Jose, and I'm sure I'm going to forget lots of people, so I'm going to stop listing them to avoid offence. What a wonderful award. It's really lovely that it's here now and that it has its own identity. I hope it continues to flourish. And congratulations to all of the winners and the shortlisted authors. It's a real honour, a very unexpected honour to win this award, so thank you very much.
How fabulous, Shannon. Congratulations. And thank you to Minister Michaels and Sean Williams for handling that for us. That was fabulous. And that brings tonight's formal awards ceremony to a close, everybody. Thank you all for helping to make it such a fun and fabulous event. Special thanks again to our sponsors and our supporters. Huge congratulations to our winners. If you could all come up on stage in a moment, please, for a photo with the Minister and State Library Director. And on that note, all the very best, darling Jeff, as you head off on fresh adventures. And to all our other guests, please join me. Just follow me because I'm going to be sprinting over there for a wine, back at the Treasures Wall, for celebratory drinks and the grazing table. Thank you, everybody, and good night. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
Great, good fun night.
Yeah, really good. It sort of moved along at a nice clip.
Yeah,
so
as
it's
much
good.
as it could without racing. Oh.